if the speaker doesn't show up, I vote for Alan story time or something like
He's
that.
here. He
He's
just,
in the meeting room. All right.
yeah, he's here.
Okay, good. Woo!
Next time, Alan.
Yeah. Thanks for the support.
Hello, David. Can you turn on your camera and let's test your audio, please? And video. Hi.
Hi.
Can you, I just made you a co-host. Can you also try to quickly share your screen?
Yep. Yep.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. And so what we'll do this morning, David, is I kick us off this morning, and then I will introduce Eric, and Eric will introduce you.
Okay. Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Okay, cool. So welcome everyone this morning. I mean, I think I know all of you. I didn't see any names I didn't know yet. But for those of you who don't know, 1 Million Cups is a national organization where we support entrepreneurs, and our mission is to lower the barriers of access to education, resources, and connection for all new and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the U.S. And we work that through creating a consistent program. We work with presenters to hopefully keep their presentation at 6 minutes, but we also want to hear about their journey and their challenges so that you as the audience can learn from their journey and how they got to where they are, and also perhaps ask them questions that might help them think about their business in a different way. And this is our local regional 1 Million Cups organizations. And if you have presented at 1 Million Cups, you should consider applying to others, especially right now that they are virtual. A lot of them are still virtual, so you might want to check that out. I know I planned to get a bus and buy a little bus or a van and drive around the US and go to all of them. That was before the pandemic. Didn't happen. And we have our key pillars, which we ask for presentations, not pitches, right? Because we're really not the audience to buy the product usually, but we're the audience to help them with their challenges as an entrepreneur. And we look at authentic connections. And what we mean by authentic connections is it's called 1 Million Cups because you can make more of a connection over a cup of coffee than you can just handing someone your business card. And it's run for the community, by the community. And we want to continually be radically and intentionally inclusive, right? We want to see all kinds of businesses. We want to see all kinds of entrepreneurs. And if you have a company that makes money, we want you to apply. And we're looking for for-profit businesses. And you can just Google 1 Million Cups Albuquerque and you can find that application. We connect with you, we schedule some time to coach you, and then we put you on the schedule. And these are my awesome organizers. Paul's daughter is on his way back from Colorado. We got Lisa Adkins this morning. We got Eric Renz Whitmore, Bob C. Sanandale, Sonia Doing, that's me, and Charles Garrison. And our awesome sponsors, so both myself and Lisa are at Fat Pipe this morning. And Fat Pipe ABQ, Fat Pipe New Mexico, is an organization that has co-working spaces in several places in New Mexico, including their new space in Taos. And if you're a member of one, you're a member of all. So if you rent a space here in Albuquerque, you can head off to Taos for a day and work there. Loza and Loza Intellectual Property, awesome sponsor. They were always buying our coffee for us. More Than Organized with Miriam Ortiz. Oh, I did it. Ortiz Pino. Miriam, I'm sorry. I got it right last week. Jason Collin Photography. I don't know why I do that. And Noventum Custom Software, who brings the donuts. And Eric, I think it's your turn.
Oh, my heavens. Well, I'm glad to be here with everyone here this morning for 1 Million Cups. So some folks, are probably several folks in the room know. So my background is sort of in community building and ecosystem development. How do we create the best environment we possibly can for entrepreneurs, in our city, in our community, region, et cetera. But I'm also part of some networks, some national networks that do the same things. And one of the different organizations that I've seen come up in recent years that I've really been impressed by is Startup Space with David, who's going to be our speaker here today. And there's not a lot of different businesses, I think, that are really focused on doing this. Oftentimes it ends up being, somebody takes on this additional role. Maybe someone who's running a co-working space and they believe it's important to build community. Sometimes you've got, someone who's running a startup and they also think that it's useful. But it's been rare, frankly, until pretty recently that there have been organizations that are really helping those communities grow. So I've really been impressed by what I've seen from David in Startup Space. So I'm really excited to have him here this morning. So David, if you'll go ahead and share a screen, we'll get you started.
All right. So before I share my screen, I want to first say thank you for having me. And I've done other presentations, so I'm going to keep it to 6 minutes. But let me first tell you my story before I share my screen. So in 2008, I had just graduated from college and I was going to go change the world. If you're an entrepreneur on the call, chances are you've experienced that, right? So I decided to quit my job. I was as a financial analyst at a local company here. I went back home to India, started a manufacturing business, came back and started selling it. And fast forward 4 years, I get a call from my CPA. He says, I'm sorry, but if you don't close your business, the IRS is going to consider your business a hobby. So 4 years of trying to scale the business, and ultimately I did not succeed. But one thing that I noticed during this time was that when I closed my business, I found all of these resources in the community around me. And so it struck me that if I had known about any of these places, there was a chance I wouldn't have had to close my business. And so that thought really stuck with me. And then fast forward to about a decade later, in 2018, I quit my job to start this company. And what I wanted to do was to fix a problem that I had in a previous business, which was, why is it so hard for small businesses to start when there are so many resources that are available for them? And why is it so hard to find the resources that small businesses need? Now, there's a lot of reasons why, but if you can think about it, small businesses have blinders on, right? They do the shipping, they do the customer service, they do the sales, they do all of it. And so there's one challenge. The other challenge is small businesses also have to live their lives. If you might have to put your kids to bed at night, right? And you can't go to a local meetup, or you have to take your kids to their events, or you have to you have other obligations that might not give you the freedom to do the kind of networking, et cetera, that you want. So in 2018, we launched this platform with this idea that small businesses and entrepreneurs should be able to connect in real time to people around them and communities around them. And so we launched this platform. And of course, the whole idea of the 1 Million Cups presentation is that you're going to tell me something that's going to force me to pivot, which is actually what happened in October of 2018. I was presenting at a 1 Million Cups in Denver. And at the end of the presentation, somebody came to me and said, hey, this is what we're trying to do in our community, which is to try and help entrepreneurs. And so they said there is a local co-working space. You should go talk to them because they have been really effective in helping connect the entrepreneurs. I went and talked to them and they said, where have you been all these years? This is what we've been wanting to do. What will it cost to get a white label version of your app? So overnight, I had to kind of pivot from being an entrepreneur B2C program to a B2B program so that communities that have a similar mission can go and do this work. And so today we are in about 60 different communities across the US where all of our clients have this single focus of how do you better connect entrepreneurs to resources. And so there's all these infrastructure that already exists, but how can you be intentional and how could you be inclusive? In some cases, you have to lead with social justice, right? You have to first address the social inequities before you can actually go and help alleviate generational poverty. So how do you do all of that in a meaningful way? How do you make sure that you address the broadband divide or the digital divide? Or how do you address the trusted connector in the community? And so while we're a technology platform that simplifies connectivity, we are really on the ground trying to understand how relationships are built and how do you help especially underrepresented entrepreneurs better connect to resources. Because if you said that this was for everyone, it automatically excludes the people that you're trying to serve. And I'll just end with one quick snippet. And then, I'd love to, during the Q&A, kind of share my screen and answer your questions. But if you think about it, in Minnesota, we had done this ecosystem mapping, and then we did a study. And there we actually went and looked at existing data around recidivism rate. So returning citizens that end up back in jail. We found that when there was a program for returning citizens, their recidivism rate dropped by 2/3. So this work is actually very meaningful, right? Because when you give pathways, intentional pathways to small businesses, you actually address a lot of both social and economic challenges. But how do you do it with this transformative idea using technology? And so that's our story. We launched this platform, and I'd love to tell you more about it during the Q&A.
All right. So I think to help kick things off, so what we'll do is, what we typically do is have folks go ahead and ask your questions in the chat. And basically what I'll do is be sort of the traffic cop, kind of identifying who's speaking and all that kind of stuff. To help kick things off, so can you describe, I guess, your business model a little bit about, pardon me, I've got a tickle in my throat. Who is your customer? Is it like communities or cities? And then how do you find those customers and kind of bring them on board?
Yep. So we have 5 types of customers, and all of these customers all have economic development as their core focus. The first one is community foundations and family foundations. So here you think of Kellogg, Bush, Knight, Gates, Kauffman, Kresge, Wilson, etc. So all of the foundations that are focused on entrepreneurship development, and then the community foundations that are also focused on economic development. Then you've got these 501c3s. These are public-private partnerships. They could be downtown partnerships or Main Street partnerships, but essentially 501c3 funded by taxpayer dollars to better connect the small business community and provide resources. The third is entrepreneurship centers at universities. So most universities have entrepreneurship centers where they provide outreach into the community. Then we've got SBDCs, SCORE, SBA, all of the government programs. And then the last one is we'll actually work with city and state governments through programs like Launch Minnesota, Launch Tennessee, et cetera, where statewide programs and help with entrepreneurship development through them.
Awesome. And let's see. So and I'm not sure if you can do anything like a demo. What kind of stuff? I know I've seen the platform. Is there some, maybe some pieces of the platform that you can share with folks so that they can see what would the experience be as someone in that community?
Yep, absolutely. So let me just share my screen and show you when you come into a community, what is your experience? So what I'm showing you here, I'm going to show you, for example, just a city in Colorado. So I'll pick Denver. So if you are an entrepreneur that comes into the platform from Denver, so let's say you went to Denver and you say, hey, and with this, by the way, it's a true story. So there was an entrepreneur who traveled from Los Angeles to Denver 2 years ago for their startup week. And she had connected with Startup Space because she had gone and looked for startup help. If you look for the word startup help or entrepreneur help in the App Store or the Google Play Store, the app comes up. So she had logged in, created an account. When she had come to Denver, she kind of asked somebody at one of the events, hey, how can I know what's happening this evening? How do I connect with the entrepreneurship community? They said, well, just download Startup Space and you can find our community. She already was a member. So she simply switched her hub from the hub in Los Angeles to the one in Denver and was instantly plugged into almost 4,000 entrepreneurs that use this platform in Denver today. And when I say entrepreneurs, there's entrepreneurs, mentors, advisors, community organizers, funders. We have about, I think, 12 different personas of different type of people that make up the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And so this is where you land if you went from the desktop. And you can see here, there's a lot of resources that you can get at your fingertips. So for example, if you want to find a local event, if you click on find an upcoming event, you can actually find local events in Denver. Or if you click on find resources, you can find specific resources in the community. And you can actually reserve tickets right from here, learn about them, etc., right from the platform. So the idea was, how do you help small businesses that come to your platform quickly find resources? But also, and I'll just say one really quick thing, the idea is not just about platform. The goal is to not tell people to join Startup Space, because we want to meet the entrepreneurs at the intersection of where they do business today, not where we're trying to get them to go. So I'll show you an example of Minnesota. So I'll just go into an incognito window and reshare my screen so that you can see something that you can see on your own screen. So I'm in incognito. There's no login, etc. If I go to Minnesota, and in Minnesota, we work with Greater MSP, which supports the Minnesota ecosystem through the Bush Foundation and the Knight Foundation, among others. So if you go to their community page and click on Find Resources, you can now find over 500 resources in the community. But here is the beauty of this. It's not the access to resources, but it's the access to the curated resources. So if I'm a Black entrepreneur and I'm looking and I just have an idea and I need funding, I can actually go look specifically for Black entrepreneurs that are looking for funding and capital, and be able to get with one click specific resources in the community that you couldn't get if you went to Google or other places. You could if you looked hard enough, but the intentionality of the resources and the ease in which you can connect resources to specific underrepresented communities is the value that we're providing Greater MSP.
And I saw Sonia has a question.
Yes. So it's a two-parter, I guess. Well, maybe just a one-parter. I mean, like, so if you look at Denver, what organization paid you to develop the Denver page, and how do we get that in Albuquerque?
So in Denver, we actually work with, we work with two partners in Denver. Around Denver, we work with about 5 different ones. So in Denver, we work with the Downtown Denver Partnership. They are funded by the EDC there to support entrepreneurship. And so they pay for the platform. But we also work with University of Denver for their incubator, University of Colorado for their mentorship program, and Colorado State University for their mentorship program. So if you think about it, the mentors are all the same, right? You don't have different mentors by different groups. At the end of the day, these mentors are just experts in the community. By having the platform across all of the different people that support entrepreneurship in the community, now you can access any of those mentor networks. You can access any of the resources that anybody has built in the community. So it becomes like a single point in which the community can frame how they convene and how they kind of share resources. And in most of the cities, that's how we operate. We'll find somebody that is through the EDC or the economic development. We're a for-profit company. So we will work with anybody that has a mandate to support economic development, and they will own the platform. And the reason why they own the platform is not just this ecosystem mapping, but there are a whole bunch of analytics that they get around impact and around journey of the entrepreneur. So for example, that hub I was showing in Denver, if you go to their website, they actually have their 5-year impact report on their website with data that has come from our platform. And they were actually able to show this to JP Morgan Chase and get CRA dollars from them by showing the inclusivity that they're driving in their community. So if you go here, all of these buttons go to our website, but to our hub. But if you click on learn more on their 5-year report, once it loads, I'll kind of show you. They have a page dedicated to analytics that tries to help break down the ecosystem. How many people are starting businesses? How many resources are available for them? How many advisors or mentors or specialty resources are there? What industries do we support, etc. And that kind of analytics they didn't have before. When the time came for impact reporting, they'll say, don't talk to us for the next 8 weeks. We have impact reporting, we're locked in a room. Here, you have these live dashboards. And the reason I built this, I come from corporate America where we lived and died by dashboards, right? That's all we did. And I said, how awesome would it be if in the nonprofit world, we had the same level of efficiency, that our dollars would go farther and it'd be more meaningful impact. So this is one of their slides that kind of talk about impact. They've got others as well, but it gives you a snapshot in real time of the kind of reach that you have in the community.
Thank you.
the other part of your question is you just have to ask us and we will be there.
I'm sure there has to be money involved though, right? All right. No, that's
Michael,
beautiful.
Michael had a question. You want to ask that question?
Yes, thank you, Eric. I have a back office kind of question, and also maybe because this is kind of a back office organization. It's basically, wow, there's a ton of curation in there. And I just can't imagine how hard it is to keep up with all the information. For example, I looked at that Black Caucus chamber, and they have a posting, and somebody had to put that posting in there and have the link back, and they had to put it under the categories, and and you could have them have an account, but then you have to convince them to make accounts, and and then you have to have this kind of uniformity. How do you do that?
So that's why they pay us the big bucks, because that kind of work is really, really hard to do. And our clients have usually 1.5 people doing 5 people's work, right? So you're not going to now give them an additional task to go map the ecosystem. So the way we price our product is not for the technology or the license of the product. That's a base price. We actually try to understand how big is your ecosystem. And we have a turnkey solution where we do all of the curation ourselves. So everything you see, including this page that you see, we put together. So we have a large back office in the Midwest where we have single mothers, people that can only work from home, etc. And they actually are dedicated to this work of mapping ecosystems, supporting communities, curating content. And that's the value that we add to the community, because our community partners cannot do this. So we do all the training, all the onboarding, stakeholder engagement. In some cities, we also do the ecosystem convening, where we actually host the monthly call of the ecosystem partners on behalf of our clients, etc. So we are just the plumbing lines, but we also help generate the electricity and help drill the water out of the ground, etc., on behalf of our clients.
And who pays for that?
The client. So it's part of the contract. The contract has the license and then the service hours. So in every community, it's the EDC or the community foundation or the family foundation or the state government, because they find this as a needed resource.
Not like, for example, that Black Chamber comp.
No. So they get a free account with us, and they can edit their resource if they want. A regular user can flag if the resource is incorrect. We can also go and edit their resource. So there are multiple people that can keep a resource fresh.
Wow, that's amazing.
But you guys cover New Mexico. I don't.
We don't have anybody in New Mexico yet. And so that's why I've been looking forward to this 1 Million Cups for the longest time, to kind of share this with your community and kind of start building some relationships in the community. So yeah, that's our dream. We've talked to a couple incubators in Santa Fe to see if they'd be interested in bringing this to Santa Fe. And then I don't think we've done any outreach in Albuquerque yet. But like I said, I've been looking forward to this 1 Million Cups for the longest time. And I've applied actually, like over the years, I've applied a few times. And then, with Zoom, now it's a little easier to do it.
Sorry, I was just going to say, yeah, we need to connect David to the city of Albuquerque, the state of New Mexico, ABQID, like all the university. We need to get this to happen. I love this idea.
Well, and I was just going to say, keep the mentions in the chat as little mini testimonials. I think that helps too. I'm wondering, so over the time, you mentioned a bit of a pivot a few years ago. Is there like another lesson learned or two, big thing that's come up, and maybe perhaps particularly in light of COVID-19 and all that? Not necessarily, but I'm wondering, like, some lessons learned that you've had in terms of evolving and adapting the program over time.
Yeah, so I have worked in a large company. I was led innovation for Nielsen. I was the vice president for innovation, and then I had my own company. But it is so scary at every step of the way. So when we hit our $100,000 mark, it was really scary. We hit our $1 million mark, it was very scary. It's like at the end of the day, every step of the journey, okay, so there are still problems. We call these good problems versus bad problems. If there is no market fit, it's a terrible problem, right? But if there's market fit, you have all of the same problem. You still have to execute like crazy. You have to still go and sell like crazy. So it just is kind of coming back to me, why the 5-year rate for success is so low. Because as a small business, you have to cross so many hurdles at every step of the way. And it doesn't just get easy because this year we'll make over $1 million. We still have some big challenges around how do you make sure that we're meaningful on the ground, that we're able to measure better, that we're able to deliver better, because every client has a different perspective on the platform. Some of them use it to share resources. Some of them use it for grant making. Some of them use it for pitch competitions. And so we have to kind of bring all these disparate groups together and be able to support them in real time. While, this year I've hired an employee every month. Actually, starting in September of last year, I've had one employee every month. And so how do you manage your employees? How do you do health benefits? How do you do insurances? So the big lesson learned that I'm having is that, to be a small business is extremely hard. And I'm starting to appreciate all of the work that we do to help connect businesses, because small businesses need that community and they need that village to be able to kind of help them get to that 5-year mark. And I think after the 5-year mark, you kind of have a lot of the resources to be able to kind of take off from there. But that's one big lesson that I'm learning, is that I thought, okay, by year 2, I can start pulling back. By year 3, I can start pulling back. I feel like there is no pulling back. Like the bigger you get, the more you have to execute well to stay in business and to keep your clients happy. So that's one lesson that I'm learning really, really fast.
Wow. Let's see. I think we may have one or two. Well, I have my standard last questions. If you wouldn't mind, Sonia asked if you could put your contact information up.
Perfect.
Just so folks know how to get a hold of you and learn more. Actually, I'm referencing, somebody asked me privately, but it didn't make the question quite public. So let's say you're not in a community that's served by Startup Space. Is there some way that you can folks just go ahead and join, or does the community need to be on board?
No, you can go ahead and join. So you can actually, so it's a free platform. You can go ahead and join, and you can actually change the radius. So when you join in, you can say where you're from in New Mexico. And then you can go into look for hubs that are around New Mexico with other cities that we have clients in. And you can start seeing, we also have mapped all of the SBDC resources across the country onto the platform. So you can find any SBDC on the platform. So we've done some free resources. We also have some pathways on how to start a business, some of the how do you set up legal entities. So we have content that anybody can use by simply joining for free. And part of our revenue model does not include any cost to the end user at all. There is no way that the end user can pay for anything we offer. So it's 100% free service in all of the communities. The only person that pays is the economic development group, because they're the ones who are mandated to do this kind of work. And so, I'll put the link in the chat here, and you can sign up.
Actually put your contact on the screen, because I want it to be part of the video.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll put that up.
And also on YouTube and all. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one of the slides, and the only reason I don't do slides is I'm deadly scared that you'll get bored. So, but I actually have a deck, and if I go through the deck, right here. So, all
right. Oh, perfect. Well, I will go ahead and ask and are you available to stay kind of in one of the side rooms? We usually have that following. Let's see. I have my standard last questions. I did prep David, so it's not a total surprise, but we'll see. So the first question is the New Mexico State question, which is red or green, referring to chili.
Yeah, green.
All right, good choice. Good choice. I like it. Okay. The question we don't necessarily ask, but I think we might make it a good thing for folks who are visiting here on Zoom. When are you coming to New Mexico?
As soon as possible. I'm not even kidding. Before this, I used to travel every week to a different city. And even the very, very last week before they shut down on March 14th, I was driving back from San Antonio. I was worried that they might not allow us on the planes because they're shutting down things so fast that I even rented a car to be on standby in case I couldn't get back home to Tampa. So yeah, I would love to come and actually get to experience your culture, get to talk to your economic development folks, small businesses, etc. And it looks like, based on how we're trending, that sometime before the end of the year, who knows?
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. And the last question for right now is, how can we as a community help you and your business grow?
Yeah, so if you're a small business, we would love to get feedback from you on if this platform is useful. If it's not, we're always kind of trying to hone in on the value to the small business. How fast can you get the resources? How accurate can the resource be? Are we able to move the needle for you? If you're a support organization, we'd love to talk to you. And if you're a service provider, you can actually submit your resources to be listed, and then it gets moderated, curated, and then listed. But yeah, based on the audience, if there is somebody from economic development, I'd love to talk to you and see if there's a way we can work together. If it's a small business, I'd love to connect on the platform. And if you're a service provider, please send us your resources and we'll add them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And glad to have you'll be able to stick around. As you've heard, there's some real hunger here for that. I think, let's see, I've got a handful of events that I'm going to put up. Do we have another activity or anything we were going to do this morning, Sonia?
Wait, what?
We have
What
a
was
few
that
new
question?
people. I think we could have them introduce themselves. I
Oh,
see
yeah.
some names I don't recognize.
Let's see. So,
Or I did.
Well, I can go ahead and do events, and then we can pull up, we can pull folks on stage. We can kicking and screaming.
okay, no
Share who
worries.
they are and all that.
Do your
and 'cause I
thing.
don't-
Yeah,
What?
do your thing, Eric, first, and then I'll do my thing.
Cool deal. So just a handful of things that I wanted to mention. So Taza, which is sort of a bilingual version of 1 Million Cups that takes place every Thursday from 9 a.m. Based at South Valley Economic Development Center, but of course it's online at this time. We've got Adam's Friday Flow, how time affluence is a mislead. That's taking place this Friday with our former co-host and organizer, Adam Brechtel. This Saturday, I don't know why this appealed to me, but it's been a little while since I've been in the SQL world, but Data Saturday is kind of a fun event if you're in and adjacent to that world. A couple other things that are coming up soon. Let's see, the good folks at Activate NM are working with Arrowhead Center, New Mexico Angels, and other partners to have a co-founder fiesta. Basically, if you're a founder of a startup, or if you are looking to be part of that first group of folks that's helping turn a startup into a viable venture, that event is coming up on Friday, May 27th. A couple of things that are coming a little further down the road in June, although that's now very soon. I'm helping put together a couple of events with the city, one of which is it's a hackathon for public arts, and that's taking place the Saturdays, June 12th and 19th. And following that, the last weekend of the month, we're close to launching another startup weekend that's actually for Albuquerque, but that's focused on diversity, equity, inclusion. If you're interested in those, we probably will have, let's see, links and all that kind of information next week. But if you want to get involved on the early side to help organize, support, etc., please go ahead and contact me. But that's all I've got for now. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. And so now we like to have 3 new people introduce themselves. And actually, I met William and Cassiopeia last night at Coffee and Creative. So thank you both for joining us this morning. But I'd love for each of you to introduce yourselves, as well as Jody McLean. Hope I said that right. Whoever wants to go first.
She can go first.
Cassiopeia? Well,
all right. Let me see if I can get my, okay. Hello. So my name is Cassiopeia. I'm just running around doing my morning chores this morning and listening to you guys. I always wanted to get involved with one of these meetings because I've heard such great things about it, and this is my first opportunity to. So I'm super excited to see all of you and get to experience this. That was very awesome getting to hear about this potential resource. So I definitely want to pass that info along to my contact in the Small Business Development Center here. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have that video on our YouTube channel, so they can check out 1 Million Cups Albuquerque and they could see the video there.
For sure. I'll make sure and actually grab that link and pass it along as well.
Cool. Thank you, Cassiopeia. And William?
I'm William Drescher. I have a little company, williamdrescher.com. I was basically a virtual set developer, art director for ABC World News until very recently moved here about a year ago. So I'm sort of doing two things. One is doing virtual set development and motion graphic design for broadcasters pretty much everywhere you can think of. I was on a little bit, haven't gone to sleep since I saw you because I had a client from Hong Kong last night, which was up all night doing this. But I do virtual set development, and on the side, I do a dog training business, which has started out small and over the years has gotten bigger and bigger. And now it's as big as what I was doing with the virtual set. So I'm sort of 50-50, which is nice because New Mexico is a great place to do that.
Very cool. And I know you wowed everyone with your virtual set stuff going on last night. That was
well,
pretty
I have
cool.
I'll give you an idea, just because you asked. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's the VLA today. So I always, Zoom backgrounds have always kind of drove me nuts because coming from a virtual set background and broadcast, we have $500,000 rooms to do stuff. And I was always like, well, what can we do with just sort of desktop systems? So I'm running something called OBS, which a lot of people run, but I'm probably running a little bit higher end than the majority of folks that you know. I'm running about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras in the room. I can share my screen. Let's see. I can go show you that I'm actually in the set that I'm talking to you from. So the monitors are all changed. I'm reflected in the background. So a lot of times when I work with a client, I'm doing, I come up clean again. They're asking like what kind of stuff I'm doing. So I can play around with, what's in different screens. This is my right side monitor. So if I go over here and change this out, these are all live things. So I can play around and play, clips of work. This is, the redesign for ABC World News Tonight while I was there. Doing their graphics package, but I can also go into close-ups. That's where I'm sitting. That's a live shot. So you can see underneath me. There's the important thing.
Right.
2 of the dogs, 2 of the 5, and my little setup. I have a weird thing that most people don't know what it is. It's called a beam splitter. It allows me to look directly at the screen, and I see you right in the middle of the screen, and you see me looking back at you, but you're actually looking at me in a reflection of a mirror. It's sort of like a backwards teleprompter. But as I spend all day long doing this these days, I got tired of sort of looking at monitors. So now if I'm talking to somebody directly, they see my gaze directly. But more importantly, for me, I find for Zoom fatigue, just solved it. I sit there all day long and look at somebody directly and they look back at me, and it's a little easier to do. So
Very neat.
That's kind of what I do. My favorite shot of all time is this one. Just because you never know when you come up today what's going to be what the setup is going to be. So it's always kind of fun, and it's a live shot. So weather-wise, when I'm talking to people in New York or talking to people in LA, other places where I'm doing development work, they get a sense of what time it is here.
Very cool. All
we
right. Well,
want
thank
you to
William.
present at 1 Million Cups and just do some amazing screen sharing stuff. That'd be so cool. Give us a whole 6 minutes next time.
I can do that. I mean, part of what I've got set up here is, if I show you, let's see, where is it? Let me go to the shot for you. I'll go to this one here. Oh, there we go. I have to flip that one over. So the setup is, pretty basic, but you start by building your own PC. Most of the PCs you buy on the market can't do what I'm doing here. Don't have enough video power, don't have enough RAM, don't have the kind of things that you need to set up from.
So William, I am going to stop you for now, but definitely apply. We'd love to hear more about your business and what you do, or businesses, especially with the dogs, right? Because so many people have dogs now after the pandemic. And
the dog business troublesbehindme.com. You can find me there.
Okay. All right, Jody, you're up next. And did I get your last name right?
McLean. Yeah. And I don't want to go after William. I'm so boring after that. I actually come from a TV background too, as a producer for live television for a number of years. So I'm totally jealous of your setup and the eye contact teleprompter situation. And Cassiopeia, you are my favorite constellation, by the way. I work with David at Startup Space. So any opportunity I can listen to him tell his story, I jump on and do that. So I'm his new chief of staff and going into my 3rd week here.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks
Congratulations.
For having us. Thank you.
Very cool. All right. And before we move on to rooms, I would love to hear if anyone has any wins this week. I can share mine if as people think, oh, Annie, you have a win, please share it.
Okay, I had to unmute myself. Thank you. Finally submitted my proposal to National Science Foundation. So shout out to Phil. Thank you, Phil, for all your help. It's been a great journey. I mean, hopefully we can keep on going with this proposal. So we've submitted our proposal end of April. I was traveling for the last couple of weeks. So I'm sorry. I'm just catching up now. So, so that's a win for me. So we're now waiting for the results for the $1.5 million from National Science Foundation.
Awesome. Fingers crossed for you.
Thanks.
All right. And let's see. I had a win. I just officially launched my new business, the Women's Thriller Writers Association, and I already have someone signed up. So it was really quick. And I'm really excited about the future of that. So that's my win this week.
Can you explain a little more about your women's association, please?
Say again? What it was?
Can you teach us more about your new women's association?
Sure. It's the Women's Thriller Writers Association, and the focus is on bringing strong female characters into the thriller genre. And we're talking anywhere from spy to sci-fi, mystery, all those thriller genres. And also bringing, representation across the genre, because, not just women, but women of color as well. So we support writers through our events, as well as, I'm trying to think. I'm not ready to, I haven't actually ever said any of this yet, Yannick, so I'm like, what do I say? But I promise I'm presenting at 1 Million Cups in the future, so you guys will hear more about it. Okay, I want to hear one more win. Somebody has to have a win. Bye, Cassiopeia. Have a good day.
Kenneth has a win.
It's that?
Kenneth has a win.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure if he had a win or if he was waving.
It's actually a win for 1 Million Cups. I ordered 2 electric bikes yesterday.
Oh, hey. Super cool.
So hopefully I'll lose some weight.
Well, have fun with those. That's cool.
Yeah, I think that was a great presentation, and that business has a lot of potential.
I agree.
That's a win for 1 Million Cups.
Thank you. I agree. All right. Let me see. And I've got, okay. So meanwhile, Lisa wants to put you guys into groups. And Jody, I'll get back to your question here in just a second.
So we have 2 breakout rooms today. One with Startup Space with David, and our Community Connections room with Eric. Unfortunately, our scientist Paul is not here today to discuss COVID, so we'll do that next week. So if you'd like pre-assigned to a room, just let me know. As soon as I open them, those who have been pre-assigned will go off, and you should be able to join the room if you have the right version of Zoom. You tell me when, Sonia.
Okay, I sent Jody her answer, so you